Welcome back, everybody. It's Mark with exoticcarplayplace again, coming back at you for more discussions around reliability. And when we talk about reliability and we're talking about BMWs, there's lots to talk about, of course. And firstly, I want to say thanks everybody who returned a lot of positive comments on my last video when I talked about reliable M cars. And of course, I challenged some discussions that Doug DeMuro had earlier on in a video just before mine. And so I felt compelled to actually address some of those things that Doug had spoke about on the E60 M5. But either way, with all due respect, Doug's a great reviewer, and I certainly just wanted to address some of the things that we were talking about. But aside from that, today we have to ask the question, is a BMW as reliable as a Toyota? That is a question here that a lot of people seem to have an issue with. I know in a lot of video responses that I have in the comments, people really continually question BMW's reliability, and we talk about the reliability of BMW versus Toyota versus Lexus and Honda, and everybody says if you want reliability, you go to the Japanese cars. So I have to make a point today, and we're going to talk about one specific drivetrain that's coming up today, and it's actually coming up very soon. And actually there's an engine right now that BMW is utilizing in a lot of their cars, and it's called the B58 engine. So we talk about vehicles that BMW is producing with engines like this, the xDrive 40i. So here we're talking about the X3, which I reviewed one here about a couple of weeks ago. This one utilizes the B58 engine, the M40i, of course, which is a great new engine. And if you've watched my videos, you'll know that that is an awesome engine, the B58. So not only is that the engine that replaced the N54 and of course the N55 more recently, but that's the engine that is also coupled in the new Toyota Supra. So the engine in this car here, we have a 340i right here, and this actually features the B58 engine. And what's special about the B58? Well, the B58 is the turbocharged, single turbocharged, direct injected inline six-cylinder engine that is used in all of these different models, like the 340, the 440, of course the X3, the X340 M40i. It's also in a whole host of other cars, like in the X5 that uses the 40i. It is utilized in a lot of their engines now. It's their new six-cylinder turbocharged engine that replaced the problematic N54 and of course ultimately the last one, the N55. Those cars are gone. Now this new one actually features some great new elements to it. Of course, it runs more boost. It has a heat encapsulation system which ultimately reduces emissions on startup and helps prevent wear on a cold start, of course. So it has that going for it. It has an improved engine that runs cleaner than previous models, of course. And ultimately, whatever BMW owner likes to hear is it produces more power, of course. So they've done a lot of work to try to improve the reliability on the B58 over the previous N55, and I think they've done that. So the ultimate question is, how do you know they've done that? Well, time will tell, firstly. So these two are classic examples. What do we have here? We have a 340i and we have a 440i. This, of course, being the coupe. That's the difference between the 3 and the 440i. The 440s, of course, have the 2 doors, and the 340s have the 4 doors. Now, these both utilize the same B58 engine, slightly detuned from what is going in the Supra. The Supra is estimated to have closer to 400 horsepower, while these cars are down around 335. Slightly detuned, nonetheless, same basic infrastructure as far as engines go. Now, these are some classic examples of some cars that utilize the same drivetrain. You have to realize, I would personally believe that these engines are going to have a significantly improved reliability for what we saw in the previous generation, like 335's I's. For example, like this other car over here. Here we have a 335. Of course, it's got the dual exhaust. And of course, these cars here were awesome to drive, but the reliability wasn't entirely there. So really, the B58 engine that is going in the new Toyota Supra is the same engine that you get in the new version of essentially this. Now, of course, this is the 335. This utilizes the N54, and that was a problem for the most part for reliability. Lots of fun, but not so reliable. So how do you know that they've fixed the reliability issues with the new B58 engine that BMW is producing? Well, we don't know that, and time will tell. You know, maybe it's going to take months, possibly years, to figure out whether there is an inherent glitch in this engine or whether there's a chronic problem in the B58 engine. Are there issues? We will see. Time will tell. But here's some food for thought. Now, when you talk about reliability, I constantly get people commenting about Toyota and Lexus being the pinnacle of reliability. Well, did you realize this new B58 engine that is produced by BMW is the same engine that is actually going in to the new 2019 Toyota Supra, as well as the Z3, of course, BMW, but that's no shocker. So the big thing is, this is an engine going into a Toyota. Do you think Toyota would risk their reputation by putting in a substandard engine into one of their cars? Especially one of their classic cars. The Supra has a moniker to it that is honestly, it's placed on a high pedestal. The Supra is a car that's going to not just last the first 3 or 4 years. We all know that the Supra is already a legend before it got started. And because of that, they do not want, do you think Toyota would risk having a weak engine that had problems galore? Do you think they would risk that? I'd have to believe that there's no chance that they would risk that. Why would they? Toyota's been around long enough to know that reliability and Toyota and Lexus go hand in hand. So they, in my mind, would ensure that they've worked closely with BMW to ensure that they have a drivetrain that is going to satisfy the reliability of your typical Toyota. But you can also, hey, here's another example. Here's a 4-door, but it has a 440 designation, but that's because this one is the Grand Coupe. The Grand Coupe there, as you can see, gives you the 4 doors, of course, but it still carries the 440 moniker on that one. What a beautiful car, I must say. So thanks everybody for coming back to the video. I just wanted to share with you BMW quality can be, in fact, as reliable as what you'd expect from Toyota and Lexus, because this has to be, in my mind, proof in the pudding. So again, I want to thank the great folks down here at Edmonton BMW for allowing me to check out some of the great new cars here. But thanks again, everybody. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, like, share with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. I'd love to talk to you in the next one. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.